I don't think there's a hell of a lot I can do. We're at the mercy of the computer.
Got some magic happening. We're bouncing off Russian and French satellites. It may have a faint signal.
How exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
Now that's a cock and bull story if I ever heard one.
How hard it is to admit the truth. Take him to the little room.
Remember he said you can't have manufacturing jobs in this country? You need a magic wand. Remember the famous? Well, I guess we found the magic wand.
If you watch Fox News, you are living on a different planet.
What is your major malfunction, numbnut?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Quiet, numbskull. I'm broadcasting.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Brotherhood of Liberty. My name is Jim the Teach. That guy over there is my brother,
Joe Rick. Joe Rick.
Joe Rick, the lawyer. So yeah. Well, I mean, he still hasn't figured out how to fix the his name, but very, very interesting.
Sorry, that's me.
And he hasn't figured out how to mute his phone either. So definitely some tech support needed in the Southern Command down there.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
That's okay, though. We have our own list of issues up here in the Northern Command. So today, by the way, if you're listening to us or watching us for the first time, thank you. And make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends about us. And make sure you tell all those people you dislike about us too, because we want them to be, I'm assuming if you're listening to us that you're one of those solid Americans. And so you make sure you tell all those unsolid Americans so maybe they can get some instruction, or we can just make them upset, which is also helpful too in the world of reality, because reality bites. Isn't that something from the 80s, John? Reality bites.
Have to correct their thinking. Yes, have to correct their thinking.
Yes, we do have to correct their thinking. So tonight's show is going to be a bit of a change in our usual format. Usually we do segments, and tonight we are doing some freestyle. Right, brother? We got some freestyling going on.
This is your idea.
Freestyle.
All right.
Yeah. Well, it worked out with AJ Hayes with
all right.
He seemed to enjoy it, and so we have on tonight's agenda, we're going to be talking about the guy who sleeps in the White House next to a woman that he thinks is his sister. We're going to be talking about his gaffes, most recently about Satchel Paige and others. We are also then going to be talking about the Call of Duty 2020 winner of the award for last year's Call of Duty championship, Kyle Rittenhouse. He is he's the man, or he is a young man now who got the award last year, and we're going to be talking about his trial. Then we're going to be talking about Silly Schiff and his Schiff show and the nonsense that he's pulled in, and the dictophilia that we have going on inside the Democratic Party. Right, brother?
Yeah.
And then last but not least, the Workers' Party versus the Wokers' Party.
Wokesters.
Wokesters. Yes. Can't forget the
President
Wokesters.
Trump's call to arms.
Yes. President Trump's call to arms. So, anything you want to say, brother, before we dive into this rather interesting show that we're going to have?
Yeah. Just one thing. Quiet, numbskull. I'm broadcasting.
Yeah. I don't have any, but you have
Quiet,
another
numbskull.
Computer. You could be playing that stuff the whole time.
I'm broadcasting.
Yeah. All right. Well, in that case, let's broadcast a little. So, what was first on the list today? Oh, it was the guy who sleeps in the White House next to the woman that he thinks is.
Yes.
I'm
allowed to call you my Negro right now, my brother, because it's okay.
Yes, it is.
Right, my Negro?
So let's hear the clip first before we go on. Here's the clip from Fox News. You can listen to it all you want.
You know, I've adopted the attitude of the great Negro at the time pitcher in the Negro Leagues, went on to become a great pitcher in the pros, into the Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson. His name was Satchel Paige.
So obviously, this is 2021, 1947.
How isn't that guy not canceled now? Right? Where's the press? Where's BLM? Where's all the usual suspects? Where's Joyless Reed? Where's NMSNBC?
They are absento as usual, brother. And I have to tell
only
you,
a white supremacist would say that. What about the tiki torches?
Only that.
What about the tiki torches?
It's not his first time. I mean, we have to look at the litany.
I did not know this. What you're going to tell me now? I did not know this. But go ahead.
Well, so first off, the one that you do know about is this one right here.
Sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Bad dude.
And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
So, of course, that's in reference to the all-black pool that he worked at. Yeah. And he's going on about the all-black groups of kids that were running around and the black gang member and how he was a bad dude.
Yeah. And what about the where he calls them cockroaches? He learned about cockroaches.
Yeah, I didn't put that up, but we do have that too. We do have, he calls all the black people cockroaches there, but still not canceled. Still not canceled. In fact, gets completely uncanceled and is promoted even more. And then, of course, we have this little slip up from back in February of this year, which is the one you didn't hear about, brother.
Challenges Europe and the United States must take on together is broad and complex. And I'm eager to hear next from my good.
Did you hear it, brother?
Play it again. I don't know.
The United States must take on together is broad and complex. And I'm eager to hear next from my good friends.
It's like, you know,
I don't know. I don't know. Well,
it's one thing's for sure. It's all covered up because you can see I just want to get back to the Negro Baseball League. This entire article from PolitiFact, which is the basis for much of the left's shielding. So they use PolitiFact because it sounds like it's a fact checker. It sounds like it's a honest source of information. That's what it sounds like, because PolitiFact, right? But if you read this, first of all, they go on, and they and like typical fact checkers that really have nothing to say, they just blather on about nothing related to what he is talking about. They talk about who Satchel Paige was. They talk about Satchel Paige's history. They talk about how he was playing well into his 50s or 40s, and you get Biden, who stumbles, stutters, has had his share of verbal stumbles, some of which have been misconstrued or distorted. I'm not really sure how he could misconstrue or distort his use of the using Negro describing these types of things.
My Negro. Really sure. It's okay now.
But
you can't say anything.
Like, I mean, we're talking about in reference to him, but here he is using it as a descriptive for one of the greatest baseball players in the history of America, and he's just tossing it off. John, let's even dive into it worse. As a side note, he gets into this down here at the bottom. They quote him. How do you feel when he's talking about Satchel Paige? Because this is supposedly the quote that he's talking about with Satchel Paige. And Satchel Paige, on his 47th birthday, pitched a win against Chicago, and all the press went in and said, "Satch, it's amazing." And he said, and they asked, "How do you feel? How do you feel about being 47?" He says, "Boys, that's not how I look at it." "How do you look at it, Satch?" He said, "I look at it this way. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were?" Well, I can tell you, 78 It's the guy who sleeps in the White House. He has no idea how old he is. And Satcher's right. How old would I be? I would be the guy who's the president of the United States. That's how old we have the guy. As a side note, as a sidebar, so doesn't go into, talks about the use of the word Negro, talks about how it's been used over time, and it just says because he stumbles sometimes and he wanders off with his thoughts. That's all. There's nothing here to see, brother. Nothing here to see. You got to make sure you don't, see anything here. That's what it is. That's all it is, brother. That's all. Nothing big. So that's his Biden gaffes. That's our Biden
So
gaffes.
is this the part where I get to talk now?
Yeah, you could talk anytime you want, brother.
Oh, I don't know.
We have equal treatment here.
You have to do rules, apparently. So,
hand signals. There you go.
So, yeah. So, I mean, we don't believe in this cancel culture stuff. We don't believe, we believe in the old America, in the real America, which says, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Right. Oh, boy, how are you going to figure this freaking phone out? Well, that's what we believe. We believe in sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt. We're absolutists, First Amendment absolutists. We don't care. Does it matter what he says? No, it really doesn't matter. But if it was the shoe was on the other foot, of course, you can't say the littlest of things. You can't even say, like President Trump did, what is the truth? That they're both sides. There are people on both sides of a monument argument that are the truth, without having it misconstrued by this liar and his liar press that you're a racist. Now,
John,
how do you know whether you're racist or not?
Hand signal.
What?
What would have happened if Trump had said those things? What would have happened?
Well, I mean, he said less, and he's a quote a racist. But how do you know if you're a racist or not? Well, you can say it from words. You can say that, hey, listen, listen. Cockroach, black people are not cockroaches, jerk. Corn Pop wasn't a bad dude just because he was black. And Clarence Thomas, what you did to him was a high, tech lynching, and you should apologize for that. How do you know as a person does? You know them not by the words, but by their fruits. Here he is, baby killing the entire, American, black race. We've done the numbers from 203. They're falling off, and they're going to pretty much soon replace, have them erased from American history, and they're going to replace them with the illegal, Hispanics. So, how do you know him? You know him by his fruits. And he's a racist because he's trying to kill the black race, and he's a Democrat. And as you know, who are the Democrats, brother? Well, they are only the last. Well, if they really were true about this cancel culture, they would demand that the last institution of slavery, the greatest institution of slavery in American history, would be canceled itself, would be denounced itself, and that is the Democrat Party, which is the party of slavery. So why, if they were really about this cancel, if the woke mob was really about that, then they would do that. But it's just a fraud, and it's a fraud brought to you by the fake press, which, of course, Ballistic Patriot stands against, because our motto is truth, justice, and the American way.
Right, and brother,
Superman.
I would just say that on that line that you just mentioned about the Democratic Party, there's a big push about the denials about not being about states' rights and it being about slavery, but and this is what they want to say on the left, is they want to avoid having any conversation about who were the slavers, who were the ones who were keeping the slaves, who were the people who were fighting to keep slavery. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about, they want to try to associate them with the Republicans. They want to insinuate it was Republicans, because that's what they do. They don't want to talk about the truth in history. They want to rewrite the history so if it's their narrative. That's nothing new. That's nothing new at all.
I screwed up the timer. It's been 15 minutes now. Are you gonna get to the next one? Freestyler?
Yeah, we can go on to the next one. Yeah.
Okay, my Negro. Come on, let's go to the next one.
Oh boy. So
freestyle.
The next subject is Kyle, the Call of Duty winner for 2020 award. He gets the award because of his stunning ability to take out a felon. He wounded a felon.
Took out a mob.
He stopped.
He stood down a mob. He stopped a mob.
So, hey, John.
To change any of my rulings. So why?
Testimony, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
That was before the
Don't
testimony.
get brazen with me.
Don't get brazen with me, right?
Don't
That's
get brazen with me.
Right.
I am going to use that everywhere I can.
Now you forced me into this. I didn't want to comment on this because I haven't seen the whole trial. I've only seen.
To be fair to John, he hasn't seen the whole trial. No, he has not.
But I will make some comments. This actually came at the end of the day. This prosecutor, this Binger guy, man, he violates my first rule of a trial attorney. He violates the first rule and the actual maybe the 10th rule. First rule, of course,
and just about all the other rules too, right, brother?
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's so condescending and snarky. He's got the worst trial attorney, but the defense isn't that much better. So, but he violates the first rule, which is don't tick off the jury, right? He's just so condescending in everything he did. Now, this comes at the end of not one, but two actual, Constitution violations from the district attorney. The first one being it's a post-arrest silence. He was commenting on the post-arrest silence, and the judge mildly took it because he was kind of shocked. Nobody really does this. I mean, anybody who does this, you never comment on the fact that the clients don't talk to the police because they have Miranda. They have a right to Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate themselves. You can't use that at trial. It's like one of the judge referred to it as 60 years. I think he was referring to how long he's been in practice. That nobody would ever say that. So the DA does that, but then he comes around, and what was at issue at this case, this moment was. There's a thing called character evidence, and character evidence, he's referring to it as propensity evidence. That's the fancy term. It's showing that you're what it is that in America you're only tried for the particular incident that you're involved in. You're not tried because you have a bad you're a bad person, or you're known as a bad person, or you have an A on your heart because you're an adulterer, right? Or we don't try people for past events, because first of all it'd be impossible, because then you're trying the entire life, right? There's this thing called propensity evidence, which meaning you have the propensity to do this in the past, so therefore you did it this time. So if you have a prior bad act, they try and get in. Now there are some exceptions. I call it character assassination evidence, and that's what it is. He's trying to use the fact that Kyle had said something about shooting looters beforehand and going to Kenosha beforehand as propensity evidence, as the character assassinated his character. So on this day, on this time, he had the same intent. No, it's enough just to try him for what happened that day. Now, when I say that the defense isn't that much better, he should have been all over that, but the defense seems to be letting a lot go by. Now, what defense did bring out in something I was a little shocked about, apparently there was an FBI agent above all this, filming all of this. And the FBI, of course, showed up and was cross-examined. And the defense attorney, Mark Richards, did point out that he didn't, that it wasn't a complete record. So apparently the FBI, yet again in another incident of tampering with evidence, only provided the parts of the evidence. They had an infrared camera at 8,000 feet above all this, only provided the parts the DA wanted, and not the parts where you could probably see Rosenbaum targeting Kyle, tracking him, stalking him, and then because there's an earlier incident where Kyle randomly puts out a dumpster on fire, set on by this idiot Rosenbaum, the child rapist who got killed first, tried to grab the gun from him. Which was a felony right there. We zabruted this film when it first came out. Now, the other thing that the defense missed, of course, was so there's three people shot. The first one was killed. The second one was the skateboard, tried to take off Kyle's head with a skateboard. He got one shot too. So 4 rounds go in the first guy, Rosenbaum. Second, I think his name was Anthony Huber, the skateboarder. He got shot and killed with 1 round. But then Gage gross crowd. This is the fake Antifa. This is the Antifa medic. This is the guy who chases. And I'm just the first part of it was actually that night was the first like film that we saw was Antifa medic chasing the mob, chasing him, and then pulling his gun, which is illegal because he's a felon, he shouldn't have, and then shooting at Kyle. Kyle shoots one round and blows off his bicep. This guy, apparently, a couple things happened. He actually got a second-time DUI. First of all, he should have been charged because he's a felon not to own a gun, let alone carry one concealed the way he was. Second of all, he's in the mob chasing this guy. And the third thing is he had a second-time DUI, which was dismissed just before this. Now, how that's not part of the trial, and how, I don't know. But the main point that of what it is, because it's hard to it's the second, to backseat a trial when it's going on because you're immersed in it. Especially in a murder trial, you're totally immersed in it, and a lot of things go by, and it's hard to stay focused. But they have this detective, the DA Binger puts on this detective who lies on the stand. And he says, when the Antifa medic is chasing down Kyle as part of a mob, he says, so he's on cross-examination, he goes, so he's chasing Kyle, right? He goes, oh no, he's running in the same direction. Now, you got to be, when you're attuned to it, you can't let that go. What do you mean he's running in the same direction? He's chasing him. No, he's running in the same. So what you do as a defense, you go, okay, I'm going to give you a chance again. I asked you a question on that video, which is what they're playing. That's a good old grossing crowd. That's the Antifa. That's the Antifa medic. That's him chasing Kyle. Yes or no? And when he says, oh no, they're running in the same direction, because you know what? You're a liar. That's a lie. He's chasing him. And I want, Your Honor, I demand all his evidence thrown out. And Your Honor, I want, there's a thing called a giglio letter, which is when a cop lies and testimony, commits perjury like that. And that's why you say it twice. You give him a chance to do it again, to correct it. That's something that now it's called a giglio letter. It's required by law that then every defense attorney thereon afterwards has to be put informed that this officer has lied on the record. I mean, it just goes to show how far out of line that this whole case is to begin with. I just want to make 2 points about this. This isn't prosecutors have immunity. They don't deserve immunity. Okay. This isn't this isn't the 1800s when the Constitution was written. This is all on video. There is no way this kid should be prosecuted. Everybody can see, and if you go through the video, you are on notice that he is doing all of this by self-defense. It's not even close. The idea that they're prosecuting him, the idea that there's officers taking the stand, swearing their oath that this is a crime, is why immunity should be taken away. Okay. Now, again, there are, as one of my rants is that there are DAs who believe that only the cops should have guns, only the government should have guns, and this is the mindset. Okay. First off, the police, shoot bystanders at the rate of unbelievable rate. I think they shoot, in the last police shootings I had witness cases, police officers have shot 50 rounds downrange, 40 rounds downrange, and 20 rounds downrange, down alleyways where people are living. Let alone this kid who shoots with a rifle with 30 rounds, shoots only 8 rounds, and hits everybody he shoots at. They shoot bystanders at something like 3 times the rate of a normal citizen. Why? Because a normal citizen knows that every time he shoots, he's going to be probably charged with a crime, and he's going to have to at very least have to defend himself in court civilly. And because of that, they are so much more careful. The idea, though, that they can prosecute this poor kid is absurd. Now, as a defense attorney, if I'd known his defense was this bad, I would have volunteered. I would have gotten my appeals guy. It would have been shake and bake, and we would have tried it. And the way we would have tried the case is so simple. If you look at this the tape, like we did after this happened, because we were doing the show then, the last thing you see in one of the city videos is a dreadlock white hair guy, and here he is holding. Here's Kyle holding the gun at him because he's got his hands up. Kyle's holding the gun after he shoots Antifa medic. A dreadlock guy tries to move, was moving in too as part of the crowd. I would have started the trial and ended the trial. I would have started the trial with dreadlock guy, hands up there, Kyle pointing a gun at him. How do you know the virtuousness of Kyle's heart? How do you know he's just doing this as self-defense? Right there. Look at that. Hands up. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Hands up. Here he goes.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. Remember hands up? Is Kyle shooting? No. Everything he's doing from this. I would have started the trial. I would end the trial with that. Because if he was the crazed murderer that trying to make him out, and again, the prosecutor Binger needs to have his immunity stripped from him and needs to be prosecuted for this nonsense. Because if he was the crazed shooter, how come Dreadlocks guy doesn't get shot? Because
John,
Kyle is not trying to hurt anybody. He's just defending himself, which is his God-given right to do.
So I think, well, in part of the things that they showed in the testimony with that, what was it, Gorensky? How do you say his name? Goloski?
Well, wait, are you what?
The one who got his arm blown out.
Yeah, Gross.
Gross. They made the point. The defense made the point that when Kyle pointed the gun at him, because Kyle apparently pointed the gun at him, and he didn't shoot him when he didn't have any weapon out. When he didn't have any weapon out, there was no bullet being fired, nothing, and Kyle kept his finger, unfired. And but when the moment that he reached and pulled his illegal concealed weapon, and he pointed it at Kyle, that's when Kyle shot. They actually have the picture of Kyle, of the arm being blown up at the same moment that the gun is pointed directly at Kyle. So they, and
again, how are they crucifying this poor kid? They put him in jail. How dare they try him? Because it's not the 1800s anymore. We have video. We've seen all the video. You're right. And every bit of it shows he's done the right thing. This kid is a stud. Number one, he is the best. He is the best handler. He should be the face of the NRA, because nobody, experienced cops that I've served with couldn't do what he did at 17 years old. And, how do you know the virtues of Kyle Rittenhouse's face? Oh, I got my hands up. What does he do?
No, he
not shoot.
The kid is not only that, but when he was on a trial or on the stand, he started to cry. I don't know if you heard about this controversy.
I saw the testimony, and that's why I didn't want to get into it, because there are other blogs that do it better in some ways. But
I just want to point out that there was a lot of ridicule for the kid for crying on the stand over this incident, and you got people like LeBron James running around there saying, "Oh, he fake cried. He's a great actor." Well, and then you got all kinds of pictures.
He shot three white guys. If they were really for the people, if these fake communists were really for the people, they'd be for Kyle. He's a 17-year-old working class kid, single, child of a single mom, working mom. Where are they for him? Because they're not for him. They're for the government. They're for power. They're creeps. That's their God, is power. But we're at are we at time to move on?
There you go, brother.
Okay.
That's why he's a 2020 winner.
And we said it at the time, James. AR beats mob. Why do you need an AR-15? Oh, you don't need that many rounds. Oh, yes, you do.
Yes,
and if you use them judiciously, as he did, he did four rounds in the first Rosenbaum, the creep, the child rapist. He got 4 rounds, because a child rapist does deserve that many. 1 round into the skateboard to try to take his head off. 1 round into the fake medic Antifa creep, and 2 rounds for suppression. And he has 22 rounds left. I'm telling you, this kid is called. You said it before. He's the Call of Duty winner, but he should be the face of the AR-15 call. This kid did it right.
If he wins this case, and we believe he should, without a doubt, although they'll probably try to stick him with some type of illegal possession of a firearm or something like that. If he wins this, I do believe that he will have won the 2021 award for the what is it? The Truth, Justice, and the American Way Award.
Right.
From the Ballistic Patriot.
Ballistic Patriot will give out the Truth, Justice, and Ballistic, because it's our motto now. Now
Yes.
Superman's throwing it away. Because we can pick it up. It is now the Ballistic Patriot motto: Truth, Justice, and the American Way.
Yes.
Take them flying.
Yes. Exactly. We won't put any Superman on there, but we will put a clear image of something flying, having flown through, and it'll say Truth, Justice, and the American Way Award winner 2021.
Will we stand there like this?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we can totally do that,
All right.
brother. We can totally do that. All right. So that's the Kyle, and then so the next freestyle. The next freestyle is for us to discuss the shift show. Shift show. You ready?
Yep.
The shift show. Let's get that keyed up. This is the clown himself, as he was on The View this last. I guess it was about a week ago, last week.
Into helping him in the next election, which he did, into inciting an insurrection, which he did.
You heard it, Wait a minute. Let's hear it again.
If they believe Donald John Trump incited the election.
What is on these Democrats' minds, brother?
Oh,
what is up with that? Did I hear 2 erections from them?
Yeah.
Not 1, but 2 erections?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What is this is a certain phrase that I think that we've coined here at Ballistic Patriot. Isn't it dictophilia?
Yes.
Files.
Love of dictatorship.
Yes.
Yeah. DIC, T from dictatorship, from the Latin, not the one that they're talking about. But
yeah, I just want to point out this is a little bit longer version of the View questions, and so just listen to it, because I mean, we don't like The View, and I would not have heard about this unless he had gotten slammed, which is very clear. Morgan, I can't remember her last name, but Morgan did a great job of asking this question.
And we got to get it done.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about something that's in the news a lot
This
right
is
now.
Morgan.
You've been really prolific over the past few years being the head of the Intel Committee, and you've defended, promoted, you even read into the congressional record the Steele dossier. And we know last week the main source of the dossier was indicted by the FBI for lying about most of the key claims in that dossier. Do you have any reflections on your role in promoting this to the American people?
Well, first of all, whoever lied to the FBI or lied to Christopher Steele should be prosecuted, and they are.
John, I have a quick legal question. If he read it into the testimony, isn't he lying?
Yes, and he should be prosecuted, but he has immunity. That's another one. I mean, and that immunity makes sense. Congress has immunity, but it's a question about that, though. Congress has immunity in Congress when they're in Congress. When they walked out into the front steps and he said stuff, which he did. He made all a bunch of lies. He doesn't have immunity then. Well, there's an argument to make that he doesn't have immunity. The idea is that any congressman should be completely free to say anything on at his business doing his job. That's right. So he can lie to the American people and get away with it and not be prosecuted. However, he did more than that. Shift show over here, he went outside. He went all like he is right now. He's out in the public spewing lies. That again, the accountability is probably why these Democrats and these creeps get away with it, because they're not held accountable. They need to be held accountable. Like me and you are. We do something, boom, we're done, right? Yeah. We do the littlest thing, and the next thing we're doing, we're facing jail. And it's unbelievable the resources they're spent keeping down the American citizen. And these creeps get away with bloody freaking murder. And this is one of the incidents. He's right. If you lie, well, why is it that the FBI is allowed to lie to you? Why is it a crime? Well, I mean, they're allowed to lie to you, and they do all the time. So why can't you lie back to them? But if it is a statute and people are being held to it, how come this guy and everybody else isn't being held to it? And the thing about it is I mean, we'll see if Durham is going to actually produce something. But what's going on is that the House of Cards. I'm stealing that from somebody by Big T. A House of Cards of the Democrat Russia collusion 3 years nonsense. It's now looks like it's crumbling, and they're getting, Durham is starting with the low hanging fruit, and the people, the idiot at the Brookings Institute, and Steele himself, who knew it was fake and put it forward by lying it to them. But the next level up are good old Nellie Orr and Bruce Orr, DOJ, and Nellie Orr, who was a Democrat operative, taking them. And then the next level above that is Mark Elias and Fusion GPS and good old Mookie Mook, guy who's running the Hillary campaign. And then the next level after that is Hillary and good old the pedophile's brother. What's his name? I forget his name. The inner circle of good old Hillary and Hillary herself that put this lie forward and knew it was a lie, and the country suffered from it. How come they're not being all locked up? Hopefully, we'll see how truthful Durham is, and how loyal he is to taking the oath to go forward and prosecuting crimes. Because listen, General Kelly was lied,
set up. He was set up.
It was set up, and he was prosecuted under this. Martha Stewart went to jail over this. So if your citizen can go to jail over this, how come these creeps aren't? It should be blind. Justice should be blind, and it should be equal for everybody. And if it's not, then it's not justice for anybody. And that's what we're seeing. This guy knew it was a lie from the very beginning, and he pushed it for propaganda and political purposes. And so, if it can be proven he knew it was a lie, and at the very least, Trump's got a suit against him.
Well, it's an unequal justice. I mean, if I hear continually about how the system is rigged by Democrats saying this about white privilege and white supremacy, here is a case in point of a guy who completely lied through his teeth. Everything he said was a lie. Everything he pushed was a lie. Was a political attack, encased in a lie and meant to damage our country, and going to get off scot-free. So you hear this rhetoric from the left about wanting to have equality and such, equity, but it's really just words. Because if it was really talking about equality, then this guy would be facing justice too. But he's protected. He's part of the protected class because he's a Democrat. And I got to say, he's also one of the tools of the Democrats. So John, he's got something about dictophilia going on there too, with those erections. I'm not saying anything, just here's the rest of it. Morgan Ortagus was her name.
Unlike in the Trump administration, if they're convicted, they should go to jail, not be pardoned. So Donald Trump
always throwing it back
Stone for lying,
evil orange man,
Michael Flynn for lying. If people lied to the FBI, they should go to jail. But at the beginning of the Russia investigation, I said that any allegations should be investigated. We couldn't have known, for example, people were lying to Christopher Steele. So it was proper to investigate them. And let's not forget what we learned in that investigation. We learned that the Trump campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, was giving internal polling data, campaign polling data, to Russian intelligence while Russian intelligence was helping the Trump campaign.
And to be clear, he was fired through the campaign.
Well, he may have been fired,
yeah.
But the effort to get Russian help continued, and even beyond the effort to get Russian help.
But you may have helped
also
spread Russian disinformation yourself for years by promoting this. I think that's what Republicans and what people who entrusted you as the Intel Committee chair are so confused about your culpability in all of this.
Well, I completely disagree with your premise. It's one thing to say allegations should be investigated, and they were. It's another to say that we should have foreseen in advance that some people were lying to Christopher Steele, which is impossible, of course, to do. But let's not use that as a smokescreen to somehow shield Donald Trump's culpability for inviting Russia to help him in the election, which they did, for trying to coerce Ukraine into helping him in the next election, which he did, into inciting an insurrection, which he, none of that is undercut. None of that serious misconduct is in any way diminished by the fact that people lied to Christopher Steele.
No, I think just your credibility is.
Well, I think the credibility of your question is in doubt.
She did a great job, didn't she, John?
She did okay, but she didn't pull out the fact that that good old Paul Manafort was in partners with a big Democratic operative. That was the shtick. Paul Manafort was the Republican end of the Democrat. I can't believe I'm blanking. It's the pedophile guy who's the brother of Clinton's chief of staff, or I think he was at one point. I can't believe I'm blanking on this guy, because this guy is a pure pedophile. Because we saw his video, and you can't take it from my mind. You can erase it from the internet. I'm going, why does he have all this child porn in his? He was on like Life magazine or something with all these like so-called artworks with like children and stuff like that. And go, it's basically it's pedophile stuff, and it's being promoted as like it's art. I'm going, ew. And this is a guy that he was a partner with, who was allowed to cancel out his the rest of his Washington D.C. Legal firm, closed it all up, closed up all the books, and got rid of it, and didn't get prosecuted where Paul Manafort was prosecuted. So what's going on there? Again, if she was doing her real job, she remember his Blumenthal. What's his name? No, it's not Blumenthal. Oh, I can't believe I can't forget his name.
Well, brother, listen, I have news tonight. I don't know if this would be considered the Baldini dossier or the Ballistic Patriot dossier, but I have been provided information from the Chi-Coms about Shifty Shift and his connections with the Communist Chi-Com party, and some very disgusting, I would say, images of him being and proof of him being in some very compromising positions with some beads and some
brother,
other types of
whoa, it's
gear.
not. Watch out! The FBI are going to raid your house. You better watch out.
I mean, this could be something that we should have. I mean, well, he's talking about allegations that every allegation should be investigated.
Right,
so
right. There you go.
The Ballistic Patriot allegation, the dossier should be investigated as well. So I'll be expecting to get a phone call from Shifty's office and to get that information.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Just to be clear, the tongue in cheek of this, the tongue in cheek of the show is meant to really get that image across, just how ridiculous
Hillary Clinton bagman.
Yeah. The ridiculousness of it, of the entire establishment, and how they cover for each other, from Biden and his comments and his gaffes and whatever they call them gaffes, using calling somebody a Negro is something that's like perfectly acceptable for them, but they can do it, but no one else can, and it's disgusting. It's just another form of it.
Google will answer this question, right? Pedophile who was friends with Hillary Clinton.
Wasn't it the guy who was also mayor? It wasn't Rahm, right?
No, they'll answer that. Google will definitely answer that. Huh?
Podesta?
That's it, Podesta. That's it, brother. It's the Podesta brothers.
It's
the Podesta brothers. Very good, brother. The one brother was the pedophile one was the partner with Paul Manafort. If she was really good, she'd be bringing that up. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's that's pretty much it for Shifty Shift. I mean, that and the erections between him and Schumer. I think we've had enough dictophilia for tonight.
Okay, I think so too.
Yeah. So then the next thing on the calendar would be part 4, which would be, I believe it's you, brother.
Well, you were going to do January 6th, but I'll go on to it because this is important. If you're going to do one segment, there's nothing more you can do on than something I recommend everybody to read. It's the highlights of President Trump's remark at the NRCC's countdown to the majority event. This was released, his statements on November 10th, right before Veterans Day on 21. I don't know where it is on the internet. I just know somehow I got it. If you go to his website, somehow it comes. I don't know what this is, but you haven't heard anything from this. And part of you want to do is, you want to get your news from us because, we're for truth, justice, and the American way. And this, of course, is being suppressed by the rhinos as much as possible. And I can't think of a more forward-thinking document to share with anybody than this. And it's basically in 4 parts. And I want to go through it. It comes after on the heels of the Virginia win and the almost New Jersey win. And in it, he goes excerpts from the remarks of Donald J. Trump. I stand before you this evening to say that if we do our jobs and if we stick together, then exactly 1 year from today, we're going to be watching a massive red wave sweep across this country. And we are going to be celebrating the election of the largest House Republican majority in American history. It'll be beautiful. It'll be the biggest, the largest. It'll be big league, right? And he goes on to mark that Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and the entire radical Democratic are headed for a political meltdown of unprecedented proportions if Republicans can stick together, and we can beat them in deep blue cities and states, and we can beat them anywhere. But we must stay unified. If we are united, we will end Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all. Now, I want you to key on that point. Deep blue cities and states. This is why only Trump can be the nominee for the Republican Party. This is one of the reasons why. He's not going to settle for just the red areas. These idiots who want to say, oh, we need a Trump-less future. You morons. Nobody in the red area is going to vote for you unless you have Trump, right? But we don't need the commie mommies anymore, as we pointed out last week. He turned Florida is always a 50-50. George Bush won it by less than 500 votes. It's always been a close thing. Not for Trump. He won it by hundreds of thousands. Who did he get those hundreds of thousands from? He got them from the Democrat Party. Who were they? They were the working class Hispanics, the working class blacks, and the working class whites that used to make up the Democratic Party. And this is the key about Trump that you have to go on. He wants to drive a stake through the enemy's heart by destroying the Democrat Party. And so let me go on to some of the things he talks about. He talks about the Democrat insane, as he calls it, the insane Democrat spending bill. Right? Never before has a political majority shown such contempt for the citizens they serve. This bill will have massive amnesty. Nobody's pointing this out. It's a bill of economic suicide for our manufacturing base, shipping all our jobs back to China. Hey, anybody can say pay off to the freaking Bidens by massively boosting taxes on manufacturing and punishing businesses that bring jobs back to America, which is what he stopped, right? It sets up a global minimum tax, which means we'll never be able to compete with anybody else. The bill is also loaded with toxic critical race theory, despite their lives. And so now this is the key. Only Trump can speak truth to power like this, because this bill is also located with toxic critical race theory provisions. They use a different term, equity, but it's the same Marxist ideology. His point is, where have you heard that from anybody else? Have you heard that from all the talking head idiots? Have you heard that from the Heritage Foundation, all these other morons down in Washington? No. He's pointed out when they say equity, they're really saying it's the old Marxist divide and conquer crap. The Marxist, the avarice of Marx, and the avarice. He was an avarice anti-Semite who used division to get political power. That's why these modern day AOC creeps, these haldegos like AOC and Biden and Bernie Sanders are using division to get to political power. As the great Rabbi Prager says, America is three things that make America the Trinity of America: in God we trust, liberty, and of course e pluribus unum, from many one, right? And that's why only Trump can nail it like that. And then he goes on to talk about how we have to kill the bill, and we have to kill the $4.5 trillion that's only going to fuel more inflation. Then he goes on. They're going to try this bill. They were going to try and get in foreign workers. Remember TTP? Only Trump got this, that tariffs were good. Only Trump got it, that you don't have a country unless you're making steel in America and you're protecting American jobs from this fake free trade world of the Wall Street Journal and these idiot George Bushes, who all they did was create a near peer competitor in China by shipping all their jobs over to China. The idiot Hillary Clinton had come up with the idea of TTP because NAFTA wasn't good enough. They were going to allow foreign workers to come into America and maybe slave labor and not have any labor relations rules applied to them. So all these fake leftists who are out there saying, "Oh, we're for unions," no, you're not. because they were going to allow this nonsense in. And it's in this bill now to do the same thing, to let foreign workers come into America, not have to go by any of our OSHA rules, not have to go by any of our union rules, not have to go by any of the laws that you have to protect American workers. Who are they on is the Democrat Party on the side of the workers? No. And this is the thing that he is getting to. Okay, so for the future of the Republican Party, wait, the Republican agenda. I skipped the Republican. Here is the Republican agenda, though, and here's where he goes. This is the Republicans' border. At the first possible chance, the Republican Party, after we win in 2022 and we get the majority, should end Joe Biden's border crisis. It's very simple. Until they end catch and release, stop asylum fraud, restore remain in Mexico, allow ICE and Border Patrol to do their jobs, and to finish the wall, which could take 1 month, not a single Biden political appointee at the White House or the Department of Homeland Security should get paid. No border, no paycheck. Only Trump, right? Only Trump. And this is where he goes. He goes, the Democratic Party is a house of cards ready to come toppling down. We do not listen to anyone who tells you the Republican Party needs to be less divisive. Let's be clear. It's the radical left Marxists and the socialists who are divisive. And it is by defeating their intolerance and aggression that we will unite America. And so America is the Workers' Party, and the Democrats are the Worksters' Party. And here he goes on. You should make, here goes another one of his plans. You should pass a plan to make China pay trillions of dollars for unleashing the virus. And of course, you should pass new tariffs on foreign trade abusers to restore our supply chains. Bring our supply chains home. Okay. He goes on to go on. You should stop all federal tax dollars from going to big tech monopolies. You should break up the monopolies. And he goes on to talk about trust busting. But none of this will matter if you do not have one more important thing: pass comprehensive election security overhaul. Now, this is where it's key. They have H.R. 1 to destroy elections. He says, all right, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. This is how only Trump has got that killer instinct. They want to do that, fine. Well, what we'll do is we'll pass H.R. 1 of our own, and we'll have nationwide photo ID, chain of custody protection, signature verification, citizenship confirmation, and importantly, ensuring that every election can be fully, quickly audited. And if this election wasn't stolen, what do they have to hide? Why can't I go down there and see my vote? Why not? Because it was stolen. And so this is the part of the Republican agenda that should start within a year. But he goes on, and I'll finish up with his last part of it, which is the future of the Republican Party, because this is the part that the rhinos don't get, and this is the part that we all have to work forward to in the next 4 years. To save our country, the Republican Party must be the party that fights fiercely for the economic interests of the American workers, the party that speaks boldly for the social interests of American families, and the party that stands proudly for the cultural values of God-fearing American patriots. Some call this American populism. Some call it national conservatism. I call it putting America first. But whatever you call it, it's here to stay. And it's not just the best way to win. It's the only way to win. And if I want to call it something, I'll call it Trumpism. So how do you have Trump without Trumpism? This is it. The old Republican Party is gone forever. The days of fighting endless wars, supporting nation building, loose immigration policies, idiotic trade deals, and surrendering our cultures to a left-wing arsonist are over, and they are not coming back. We are now the working people's party. We will be, and then he goes on to everything is, and it says to defeat the woke zealots trying to destroy our country. This is, if you want to read the call to arms for the next 3 years that everybody listening should do, go on Trump's website and get this statement, because he nails it again. We are now the Workers' Party. So next week, can we get a lot of those Soviet era worker parties? Brother,
we'll put that in Trump, the budget,
right? Put Trump on there, because we need all that, because this is the, I was on the Trump bandwagon back in Oprah in the 1990s forget all the he was an element. He grew up in the Playboy era. I'm not going to hold that against him. And I think he would know that he made a lot of mistakes on the way. And and for all those knuckleheads out there and the commie mommies who like, I don't like his tone. Tough crap. Grow up. He had put his finger on the fact that we were selling out the country by sending every state. It's got 3,000 mills and factories, and all the middle class workers that could have a decent life, that where the poor people could raise themselves up, and establish something for themselves. And America wouldn't have to worry about supply chains, and America could be the industrial superpower that it should have been. This dream of America was sold out by these creeps on the Bushies and the old Republican Party. We are living in the days of a new Republican Party, a better Republican Party. It's the Workers' Party, the party that it's always should have been, the party that it was when it fought against slavery in the 1850s, in the 1860s. And it should have always been the party that was banned. It was born to be from the beginning. I'm always for the littlest guy in the room, and whether it's a baby, whether it's the worker, and in this case, Trump is is still the head of the party, and it has to be Trump in 2024 because nobody else will speak truth to power, or as he said, once something turns woke, it turns to Shiite. Only he's going to say the truth, and that's why it is a Trump future, and not a Trump-less future. And that would be my rant for today.
Okay, the rant is done. Well, we're at, for all our freestyle, we're still at 56 minutes left of the show, or 56 minutes of the show gone.
Wait, I got 4 more minutes?
No.
I'll read the rest of it. Are you sure?
No, I think we're good, don't you? We can put the end segment there and say everyone thanks for watching, but we could also say make sure you tell your friends and neighbors about us and get the word out there. Remember, our show is meant to educate, but also highlight the stupidity of the left, and make sure that they see maybe actually change their ways. And to be clear,
no filibustering. It's 10:15. I don't know what clock you're looking at.
Yeah. Well, we started a little late.
Okay. So you want to fill 4 minutes?
No. I'm just pointing out that. I'm just pointing out that our show is intended to work for to highlight the stupidity of the Democratic leadership, and we've done a pretty good job of that tonight. But it's because it's all good, brother.
Because God loves you.
Because God loves you.
The world will know that free men stood against a tyrant, that few stood against many.
Knucklehead idiot Fauci was on TV today. I think he was always on TV. Today he was saying some kind of nonsense that if you're not wearing a mask, you're violating other people's civil rights. It's the exact opposite, but what you expect from a totalitarian.
What we have today in China, the authoritarian monstrosity that is trying to take over the world, that wholeheartedly believes that every kernel of dirt on the planet Earth and underneath, and every human being living on the surface and beneath the surface of the Earth is Chinese property, including, John, the moon, the Mars, and all the skies are all Chinese property. That's what these authoritarians think, and that's what their goal is, to take it all over.